Career paths don't have to be linear, and Masturah's winding road from law to early childhood education to psychology proves that the most rewarding opportunities come from unexpected turns. Professionally Psyched is the podcast that brings you cutting-edge psychology research and real-world insights from our psych community of clinicians, researchers, and educators alike. In our special alumni spotlights, we chat to graduates from our psychology degree programs about how their skills learned in the classroom have become powerful tools supporting diverse career journeys and successes. Hi everyone, and welcome to Professionally Psyched. I'm Jessica Muller, PhD candidate in Public Health at James Cook University, and before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record, and for me today that's the Bindal and Wulgurukaba peoples. And I pay my respects to elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and cultures from wherever you may be tuning in from across the country. In this alumni spotlight, Dr. Amanda Krause speaks with Masturah, who came to JCU Psychology after 15 years in education. She shares why research training helps her pause and analyze before reacting, and how her interdisciplinary team transforms lives through early intervention. So grab your headphones and get ready to get professionally psyched about the power of soft skills. Enjoy.
Masturah, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. To start, could you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, so my name is Masturah and I'm an alumni of JCU Psychology program in Singapore. So I basically do not have any psychology background at the start. I was actually from an education industry. So basically, I more or less dabble with the education, early childhood industry. And I just want to better progress or to do a career switch. I still want to work with children and parents. Yeah, and the teachers, of course, but I just want it to be in a more clinical setting. So that's why I'm here in JCU taking the psychology program. Yeah.
And what have you done since finishing your psychology degree?
Okay, so basically, before I took up my psychology degree, I was actually doing a locum at one of the allied care in Singapore. Yeah, so basically, of course, I don't deal with mental health per se or maybe psychology in general, but I work with children with special needs. So the early years, so something that is related to what I am currently doing in full time. What we do at the allied care is actually to give early intervention to children with needs. It can be behavioral, it can be educational, it can be learning needs, for example. And then, of course, from there, what I do is I work with psychologists. We do work with the therapists as well, and also of all the special needs, the early intervention teachers, I might say. Yeah.
And are there certain types of interventions or certain therapies that you focus on?
I'm an early intervention teacher. So basically what I do is I am on the ground with the children in the classrooms. So what I do is I work with the speech therapists as well as the occupational therapists. When I'm with the children, I have to work with all these people to help me with the children and to also to give them a kickstart, I feel.
So it sounds like you actually work in quite an interdisciplinary team with the educators, speech therapists, occupational therapists, psychologists. That's a lot of different professions. How do you all work together?
Okay, so basically what we do is usually when the children or the parents come in, when they feel that their child has a need to be addressed. So they will come in, of course, they will have to come to go through the assessment. And then based on the assessment, then we'll know whether the child has a need or, we have what are the areas that we need to work on with the child or the children. Yeah, so from there, then we'll see whether the child will need speech therapies or occupational therapies. And then usually for early intervention classes is for socializing and also behavioral. Yeah.
So you said you had a background in education before you came to psychology. What was the benefit of adding sort of that psychology knowledge to what you already knew from education?
I'm still in the education industry, so I still does the early intervention as locum. So I do it over the weekends. Yeah, so my day job is still, I'm actually a center principal in one of the private preschool in Singapore. Yeah, so what really helps me is actually the interpersonal skills. And also I think the overall, like holistically, because like, as you mentioned, it's very interdisciplinary. So I feel like it's of a use to me because I have to deal with parents, not only parents, I deal with children and teachers as well, and also the other stakeholders like the management, as well. So I think the skills that I learn actually help me to actually better communicate with people, better understand people, and also of course get things done in a sense, and also help me firefight my daily daily things at work. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of your daily work, what does a day look like for you?
Okay, so basically what I do is, of course, I have the administrative stuff to do at work, like for example, if there are new enrollments coming in, having to work with like ACDA. ACDA is basically our early educational body that regulates us. Okay, yeah, so we do have that. So I work with my license officer, those kind of things. And then for my day to day, I feel like it's more of a firefighting, like, every day comes with a different sets of challenge. And then, of course, we have to deal with like teacher rostering, and then like the children coming in and parents' feedback, those kind of things. So that's basically my day to day at work.
Yeah, firefighting and problem solving sounds like it's a
Yeah.
big part of that. Were there any particular subjects or things that you learned in the psychology degree that you find really valuable to the work that you're doing now?
When I did my psychology degree, I don't know whether I would call myself lucky, but it was during the COVID period. So the mode of learning was hybrid. So actually, I think I pick up certain skills from there. I mean, like not the modules itself, but I think the skills along the way that I learned from the modules, like for example, like, building online community, I think is very important. Yeah, and having to be able to be comfortable in front of the screen, talking, yeah, sharing, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I also feel that I mean, like for me, because psychology is quite broad, so I pick up certain like learning points for especially in children's development, because that's where I am focusing on and what I am very comfortable with, like their cognitive, their emotional, and also their social development, and also see how I can help. I use all these to help families and the teachers as well to better understand children. And I also feel that throughout my studies in JCU, actually I pick up like, time management skills, like adaptability, and also independent learning skills. And I also actually this all the skills that I've learned also help me with my future learning and application to what I am doing now, like research skills, like cognitive processes and human behaviors. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
what.
you mentioned the research subjects there. How has that helped
Mm.
you in your current role?
Okay, so basically for me, not to go heads on when there are not say problems or any situation or issues that arises. So for me now, I always take a step back and try to analyze the situation and do a bit more research. Like for example, if a parent comes in to share feedback about their child, they think that their child has needs, that kind of thing. So I would just take a pause to see what are some of the underlying areas, like what are the root causes. Yeah, do a bit of research. So maybe it can be home support, for example, or maybe the child really has needs. Yeah, or maybe it's just the environment, or maybe there are not enough help or support or attention seeking behavior. So I feel like, yes, the research part has helped me hone the steps that I need to take to find out more. Yeah, and just just stop and just take a breather and, process all the information that is given and see how I can better help everyone, yeah, that is working with me. Yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like even though you might not be conducting a research study, you're still using those critical thinking skills. And then also to support these children, you need to know what interventions and therapies are going to be evidence-based and effective, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were thinking about what advice you might give to current psychology students, what would you say?
So basically, my advice to the current students in JCU, I feel like the career path doesn't have to be very linear. So, for example, like myself, like I mentioned, I wasn't a very bright student, or I'm just very average, and I don't really enjoy studying. But here I am actually in JCU, doing my second degree. Yeah. So basically, I was doing my A levels back then. I didn't do so well, so I did a diploma in law and management. So actually, I've worked in a law setting before as a paralegal, but somehow I just don't find it fulfilling. So I end up in the education industry. Yeah, so after a while in the education industry, about 11 to like 15 years in, so I decided to also make a hit, like, I mean, to progress myself. Yeah, and to actually do a degree in psychology. Yeah, so I feel like the career path doesn't have to be very linear, and now it's like very hybrid, it's very flexible, where you can always stop where you are, right where you are, and you can always do something else. So be open to where your degree might take you. And I find that the most rewarding opportunity comes from unexpected turns. So yeah, and then the second one would be, do not underestimate the value of soft skill, especially in this era where there are a lot of AIs coming in. Yeah, so these soft skills are actually something that AI doesn't have, like communication, like adaptability, empathy, and of course, it's very important to have your academic knowledge as well to back this up lah. Yeah, and then the third one would be for the psychology students in particular. So immerse yourself in the research processes and apply what you learn outside of the classroom. And I find that it's very important, even though you are still studying, try to find pockets of time to actually volunteer or do internship or network with people in the industry, so that you know what you are going in for, or what you're going into. Yeah, so that you have a little bit of background knowledge, and then you have that network to support you. And at the same time, I feel with those networking, it also help you ease into the industry is easier, if I can say. Yeah, and then of course I feel like whatever that I've learned in the psychology degree, the knowledge and the skills are very versatile, because I feel that understanding people is an asset in any careers. So, and lastly, because we are in this field, I feel like it's also very important to take care of ourselves, because it's a very people oriented field. So like before you take care of other people, you take care of yourself, so that you don't get drained. And yeah, your well-being is very important.
I think that's such a great point that, what you do in and outside of the classroom and getting the experience doesn't always just come
Mm,
from a class, but could be from a volunteer opportunity, or as you said, something
mm,
completely unexpected that you weren't necessarily thinking about. And of course, we need
mm.
to take care of ourselves first out and to help everybody else. So, Masturah, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Professionally Psyched. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the ongoing support of our Psych community. If you'd like to show your support, or if you want us to cover anything on the pod, reach out via our emails, and don't forget you can listen to full episodes on Spotify.